Objective.
Excuse me, I should have asked. Renee, will you please read the objectives?
Thank you. Chris's objectives tonight will be to select the right words and sentence structure, to communicate his ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly, to use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas, and to eliminate jargon and unnecessary words while using correct grammar. Time 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Renee. Chris Pritchard.
I've got a word for you, and if I can't communicate the concept or the word doesn't make sense, I'm going to ask your help with it. The other night, I was driving home with Hector Perez and Dr. Joel, and we discussed this concept, and Dr. Joel didn't like the word. He said, I don't quite get it. So that means either my word was wrong or my concept was not explained properly. So here's the word: exponential growth. Anybody have an idea what exponential growth is? Thank you.
Very steep growth.
Greg.
2, 4, 8, 16, 32 kind of growth.
That's it.
Constant and never-ending improvement at a higher rate.
There you go. That's what I'm trying to explain. And my point of this exponential growth was that when you start to learn something, believe it or not, if you take time to really study the concept, to see the whole picture, your growth actually becomes exponential if you're willing to keep working at it. I see I'm confusing Rich a little bit, but I've got a little map here. Knowledge, and it's a rotation. Knowledge and experience improves your skill, leads to more knowledge, and then you experience. And I'm going to talk about Rich DeVoe for a second, not him personally, but if I go to work at Rich's shop, or if I worked at your place and I was a salesman, and I did the same exact thing for 20 years. I was a 20-year salesman with 20 years experience. Did I grow? No, I did the same thing for 20 years. I have 20 years experience. But someone new could come in and use this concept of exponential growth and surpass the man with 20 years experience, because he would understand exponential growth and how it works. Am I making this clear?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the word exponential growth, or does it not make sense? Dr. Joel said perhaps if you're a tennis player, you play without thinking about it. And I'm going to use another concept to try and let you understand exponential growth. The first time you drove a car, you're driving like this. You're very nervous. 2 miles an hour, stepping on the brake. But it didn't take long, maybe in your case a week, before you were driving with one hand, eating a hamburger with the radio playing.
That's true.
Not even now.
And not even that long. Yeah, that's exponential growth. You went from new, your experience, your skill level, your knowledge, all work to make exponential growth. And how does exponential growth work for you? How can you make it work? You make it work by trying to understand the big picture, trying to understand where you want to be. And I'm going to use this for problem solving, because this is the problem I had with Hector and Dr. Joel. They didn't see how you could make exponential growth work by snapping your fingers. You ever try to solve a problem? You had a problem, you had to solve it, and you couldn't figure out the answer, and you said, well, I'll put that on the back burner for a while. The next time you brought the problem out, the answer was there, or your next step in the answer was there. Anybody familiar with what I'm saying here? Yes, thank you. Excellent.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you were solving that problem throughout the time between the time the problem came up and the next time you talked about the problem or thought about it. You expanded the problem. You understood it. Exponential growth takes place without even seeing it. And maybe that second step didn't really solve the problem. And you said, oh, that's not quite right. Now I'm going to put it back. And then the next time you came to the problem, it's right there. I'm a genius. It's like getting the concept and being able to make a solution come instantaneous. And the other word I had was quantum, which no one knows what it means.
That's a leap.
Yes, thank you. Quantum, is that everything all at the same time? That what people would say quantum?
Yeah, like a
Quantum-
tipping point where you rise to the next level suddenly.
So I thought of substituting exponential growth with quantum growth. I thought I would get even more questions. I thought of nonlinear growth. So is there another word that's not exponential growth that you could use to explain this concept that I've tried to explain? Anybody have an idea of another word for this kind of growth?
Like instinctive?
That's possible.
It's a good. I'd maybe say self-development, or wait, it doesn't really.
But,
You know, it implies to me growth.
and there's no wrong answer because I am really searching for a word here. I liked exponential growth. Instantly, Renee knew what it was, and I'd already understood this concept, but when I saw a lecture on it, they were explaining the concept not as good as I did, actually. So, I'm going to stick with exponential growth. Any questions about exponential growth? Any examples you can give me to use in the future? I'm going to go ahead.
Could I ask what are the examples they gave you?
You can't.
Oh.
But I'm going to give you my example. Is this little rubber ball, and when I got this little rubber ball and I started to do this, it fell on the ground every 5 seconds. I couldn't do this without it falling on the ground. And I would work and work and work, and it would fall on the ground. Every 5 seconds, my wife would laugh. It was falling on the ground. And then one day, I got it. And now I'm doing all sorts of things with the ball. I'm doing this with the ball. It's incredible. The growth that has taken place from the point I got it to now, and every time I'm looking at another problem in my magic world, it's solving itself. Well, I got enough input, and thank you, Rich. And last thing about Rich, I want to just talk about Rich and his exponential growth quantum leap with his new car sales development technique. He talked about it last time.
Oh, the video?
Not just a video, but a new way of selling cars.
Oh, the DocuPad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, it's a giant. It's a selling tool for a business manager and a car dealership.
Right, and it's and I'm sure a lot of people are fighting it who don't get it.
One
But
guy is.
excuse me.
Yeah, one guy is. Yeah.
I'm sure that other people who instantly see the availability of it are going to utilize it to go to the top, and they're going to leap past the quantum growth I'm looking for, or I like quantum growth. Now that I've talked about it. Well, that's what I wanted to say, and that was my problem when I came here, and you solved it a little bit for me. My concept made sense. Anything I said that didn't make sense, I'll hear from Renee later. Mr. Toastmaster.